Now, thank you very much, Ray. And now I'd like to introduce 50% of the vision for this, with Cynthia Reyes, of course, Hamlin, Grange.
It's actually more like 80-20. I'm the 20. I just go along in her wake. Trust me, trust me. But good morning. I said good morning.
Good morning.
We have a polite bunch this morning. Thank you. On behalf of co-founder and my partner in crime, Cynthia Reyes, welcome. Welcome to the Innoverse, as we like to say. And we also want to welcome the Inno-veterans, those of you who've been here more than once, and also the Inno-newbies, the new ones. Boy, you are in for a treat. Your minds are going to be expanded and blown all at the same time. So take full advantage of it. We're also glad to have you here. There's a little kids game I want to play with you. Remember that game? Knock, knock.
Who goes there?
Say again? Knock, knock.
Who goes there?
You are. You're there. You're there, okay? Whether you're an independent producer, a writer, a photographer, an artist, a commissioning editor, a senior producer, a business leader, chances are you've been there. Knocking on doors, knocking on doors. Doors that sometimes never seem to open. And if they did open, sometimes they close all too quickly. Doors are gateways to opportunities, but sometimes doors can be barriers. The theme for this year's summit is Open the Door, Unlock Your Future. It's both a challenge and a call to action. Here's where I break out into song and dance. Who's that? Is that your phone? Oh. I didn't think that's going to get background music, but I'll just keep going. Ray, did you set this up? I'm at the wrong mic, excuse me. As I say, it's both a challenge and it's a call to action. It means do not be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. Do not be afraid to lean into your discomforts. We established Innoversity 5 years ago. This is the 4th summit. Who would have thunk it? 4 years have been at this craziness. I want to thank all of you for being here. We thank the many people for catching this dream, our dream, for making Innoversity a reality. I just can't say enough about the planning staff, the people involved here. You've done a tremendous job, and you're going to be thanked even more fully later on in the program. Now, last year I found a fortune in a fortune cookie, and it said, truly enough, it said this: life gets harder near the summit. And I went, what? And I looked behind me to see, did somebody plant this, right? Well, I took out this fortune and I blew it up and I posted it in the Innoversity office, and guess what? It's true. Life does get harder near the summit, but you know, life also gets richer and it gets much more rewarding near the summit. But I also want to thank the many volunteers, the people who literally begged to be involved in the summit this year. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And of course the sponsors, we've already seen who they are, heard who they are. You're going to be hearing more about them later on, many of whom have been with us from day one. And you know, by being involved in Innoversity, you're making a powerful statement. You're saying you believe diversity is more than just being nice to people. It's about being modern. It's about leading the parade. It's about being smart. It's about doing good business. It's about being cool. That's what it says, okay? And you should congratulate yourself for being part of this, because we sure as heck congratulate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, over the past 4 years, we've had many successes. We kind of call them Innoversity babies. We're calling them, for lack of a better word. We couldn't come up with anything. He was late in the night and said, Innoversity babies. Okay, sounds good. There are people like Romeo Candido. Remember Romeo from the first year? Some of you were here. Romeo won the best overall pitch prize at the very first Innoversity Summit. And he stole our hearts with his enthusiasm. Got an email from him the other day. He's now in the Philippines, making commercials. And he's working with like 500 extras. Somebody in the Philippines saw this guy's tape and he said, we want you to make commercials for us. He has 500 extras. Now think about that. I mean, that's bigger than most Canadian movies. That's amazing. That's amazing. And he's planning to make even more films. And this was a young guy, a young man who said at the end of university that first year, he was about to leave the industry because he kept knocking on those doors and nobody opened them. Way to go, Romeo. Marina Pinto, a young woman with a disability who earned a CBC University internship. She's now working in what she called her dream job with TV Ontario. It's okay, TV Ontario, as a visual researcher. And of course, you know, it says a lot when a filmmaker who won his first big prize right here at university, he's back this year presenting a case study after he was nominated for an Oscar. University success. And there are dozens more that we may have never heard about. If you got a story, tell us, because we want to know. We need to share those stories with everyone. We created a new program this year. It's called the Innoversity Mentors. When we looked for the 22 university mentors, a funny thing happened. They were all busy. Oh, gee, really busy, we can't help you out. Well, you know, 5 years ago, they were not busy at all. They were knocking on doors, okay? But they're busy. Today, they're all in leadership roles of one kind or another, and they're preparing for even greater things. We have this career fair that you're going to be seeing and hearing more about. 5 years ago, we were warned that it would take a long time to get people with disabilities involved in the media or even to be involved in university. But with the help of a number of individuals this year, we're seeing more participation of people with disabilities in university. And let me tell you, that augurs well, very well for the media in general. University is what we call an annual miracle. It's an annual miracle. It's a tremendous amount of time and resources are spent to make it happen. But at the end of the day, Innoversity Creative Summit is all about you. Because you make it work. You make it happen. So we urge you, I urge you, to be bold, be creative, be extraordinary. Be extraordinary in the next 2 days. And most importantly, folks, have fun. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
You are. Thank you. One last thing before. It's very much my privilege introducing Ontario's Minister of Citizenship and Immigration, the Honourable Mike Cole. He's an immigrant himself. He came to Toronto from Italy as a child, and since then, he's made his city right here in Toronto. Mr. Cole knows firsthand the wonderful opportunities and possibilities that can be realized from the talents, big ideas, and dreams of persons from diverse backgrounds. He's now helping to shape a unique province that thrives in these differing gifts, traditions, and viewpoints. Mike Cole was first elected to the Ontario Legislature representing Eglinton-Lawrence area in 1995. Prior to his election, he was a councillor in the city of York and Metro Toronto. And as a reporter, I used to cover him while he was in Toronto. He was also been a commissioner and chair of the TTC. He was appointed Minister of Citizenship and Immigration in June of this year. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Cole.
Thank you, Hamlin. And I just want to say to Paul from the Discovery Channel, I also want to thank him, like Ben, for giving my daughter work in the industry. Although she's home on maternity leave right now. I want to say I'm very excited about being here. And I want to certainly say congratulations to Innovation, Innoversity. It is an amazing expression of what Toronto, what Ontario, Canada is all about. We are what we are because of our diversity. And I couldn't agree with you more. We either diversify or we die. And I think what Hamlin has done and Cynthia have done, and all of you have done who are here, is really start to put some focus on the need not only to pay lip service to diversity, but start to treat it as an asset, an added value. And it's, to me, as the Minister of Citizenship and Immigration, it is an economic imperative. For Canada and Ontario to prosper, we have to invest in our diversity. We have to encourage it, nurture it, and link opportunity with diversity. If we don't do that, we are going to miss out on immense talent, entrepreneurship, initiative, and we're going to miss out on a great deal of opportunities, socially and economically. As you know, Ontario and Canada's birth rate is flat. older workforce. There's going to be huge shortages of skilled labor right across the spectrum. And every year, we're lucky that Ontario welcomes 125,000 newcomers. That's basically recreating the province of Prince Edward Island every year in Ontario. Last year, this year, and we're even going to get more newcomers. And we welcome that, but the critical thing is, as you open the door, you also have to give people a seat at the table. You have to give them something to eat. You have to give them opportunity, and that's why my ministry is charged with the integration, the support of newcomers so they can achieve their potential. Because we know if a newcomer succeeds, Ontario succeeds. That's unequivocal. But we haven't been doing a very good job as government, as employers, as society in giving newcomers and giving our diverse community opportunity. In many ways, it's been just too marginal. It has to be incorporated as part of our main objectives, day to day in what we do. And if we don't do that, we are going to suffer the consequences. Again, our economy will suffer, our social dysfunctionality will increase, and we're going to miss out on these glorious contributions that people are dying to make to our society, whether it be in arts and media, in the economy, right across the board. So as Minister of Citizenship and Immigration, under Premier McGuinty, we have created essentially a new standalone ministry of citizenship and immigration that's going to challenge industry, the professions, challenge ourselves, the government, challenge the federal government to say to them, you can no longer get by investing $3,800 to a newcomer who goes to Quebec. If that same newcomer comes to Ontario, Toronto, they invest only $800. That is not acceptable because you are denying opportunities to that newcomer to be part of the mainstream. And we are fighting for that. We have to advocate for that because we know we are going to be much more dynamic, successful, and competitive, not only in North America, right across the world, if we take advantage of the fact there are people that come here that speak 300 languages, 169 countries. That is an incredible asset that we are not taking enough advantage of. And that's why I'm so proud to be here to say, keep doing it, Hamlin. Cynthia, keep doing it. Keep kicking down the doors till we take diversity as an economic, social imperative that we have to respect and not just pay lip service to. So congratulations and keep doing it.
The Honourable Mike Cole, Minister of Citizenship and Immigration from Ontario. Thank you so much, Minister. We do have the privilege of living in the world's greatest living experiment. And I guess we also have the responsibility of making it work. And we have that responsibility. Thank you for your wonderfully insightful and encouraging remarks. Now, our next speaker, appointed just 1 year ago, ladies and gentlemen, he has an enviable job. Pierre Giorgio DeCicco is Toronto's Poet Laureate, the literary ambassador for what is arguably the most diversity in the world. And I have to say, Pierre Giorgio DeCicco is also the person who first taught me that poetry is cool. He came and spoke at our high school when I was in grade 12, and I thought, wow, I want to be like him. Unfortunately, journalism was about as high as my talents, my writing talents, so take me. However, where would I be without Pierre Giorgio DeCicco's poetry? He was born in Arezzo, Italy, and raised in Montreal, Toronto, and Baltimore. Mr. DeCicco's work has earned him tremendous recognition, including 5 Canada Council Awards, 6 Ontario Arts Council Awards, the City of Toronto Arts Awards. His 2003 collection, The Dark Time of Angels, received a 2004 Trillium Book Award nomination. Pierre Giorgio DeCicco's Toronto experiences have inspired and flavored his work. He speaks of an essential atmosphere of passion fed by our diverse and vibrant city that allows artists to confidently create again and again. Please welcome Pierre Giorgio DeCicco.
Well, these high school. Who would have guessed? Who would have thunk it? Here I am again talking to a bunch of professionals about things I know nothing about. I don't know how it happens. It happens a lot lately. Should I wear my diversity uniform? Yes, I'm also, it's where Cynthia and I first met, on a chapel, a little Irish chapel on a hill somewhere. I think
Yes, indeed. King City.
Yeah, King City, long before the poet laureate thing. I don't know how many of you even knew that there was a poet laureate in Toronto, eh? City Hall doesn't seem to know either. I went down to City Hall the other day for a meeting, and I said to the security person there, I said, hi, I'm the poet laureate. I'm here for a meeting, and I don't remember where it is. Can you help me? And she looked down very seriously at her roster there, and looked down, and she found, she said, laureate. And she looked up very blandly and said, is that your last name? To which I replied very coolly, yes, George Laureate is my name. Please let me in. But this is, so there are humbling experiences of all kinds, even if you're a member of diversity and not just, not the poet laureate. I remember wearing my diversity uniform. So this is a diversity joke, actually. And I was at an espresso bar, being Italian, of course, and somewhere in Brampton. And a lesbian came up to me, and I knew she was a lesbian because she was handing out literature about lesbians. Fine, no problem. And so she handed me one. I was wearing my uniform. And she looked at me. She gave me the once-over from head to toe. And then she said, are you really a priest, or is that a fashion statement? Suddenly I knew I was in the postmodern landscape of post-diversity. I'm really pleased to be here to speak to you, culture lovers, diversity lovers, Innoversity lovers, broadcasters. I am Italian, American, Canadian, American. Turn the hyphens around any way you want. I'm here to talk a little bit about my enthusiasm for the creative city. I think that's the topic you gave me, Hamlin, if it isn't, tough luck. The creative city, diversity, the creative city, and media, which should be a lot of fun for you to hear about because I'm really knowledgeable. I don't even have a television set. So bear with me. I want to talk about the creative city and Toronto. I've done a lot of work with creative cities. Is the craze these days. I don't know who started it. Probably its own genius, because at some point someone had to realize that the cities had to be creative, and people couldn't go on thinking with steam engine mentalities and doing the same kind of reasoning that has brought us to dismal urban landscapes and the kind of bad industrial thinking that has brought us to such bad conclusions in the global environment. Anyway, the creative city. We're all supposed to be creative. All cities are onto this thing about creativity. I just came back from Barcelona and Berlin and London on a project by the provincial government and the city of Toronto to discover just how much more buzzy they are, how much more buzz they have, how much more creative. And everywhere we went, diversity was the thing, man. They touted it, they're proud of it, they proclaim it. They say it's necessary for creativity. In a city, everyone knows it's necessary to welcome, open the doors to creativity, to diversity, to have creativity. But between you and me, Toronto has the edge. And other cities are looking at Toronto very enviously because we handle diversity, believe it or not, better than they do, better than many other cities do. And that's something to be proud of, and something to wonder about why, something to consider. Toronto has a strange kind of magic that other cities are looking at. And so the experiment of diversity in Toronto is a very important and challenging one for all of us who are participating in it. In the 70s, we lobbied for internationalism, and it became multiculturalism, and it developed into diversity, a word that even now may have to be overhauled, but it'll have to do to talk about the ideological parade that is the global city. I say ideological because I'm not sure, really, that we can talk of cultures anymore. Don't get me wrong. I am very proud of my heritage, and I don't think people know where they're going unless they know where they came from. But the places they came from in a globalized world are beginning to look the same, if you've noticed. And what does it mean to talk of cultures when ideas migrate to us faster than we can get into a car or an airplane? Tossed in the wind, ideas tossed about like seeds of grain by satellite and by images. Ideas that revise us faster than we can make sense of ourselves. Maybe we don't migrate. Maybe we as individuals are like countries to which ideas migrate, forcing us to hybrid images of ourselves before we have time to negotiate who we really are. Identity is a problem that we bring to diversity. We delight in diversity. It's the crown jewel of the global. But it asks us how well we can live with each other and if our differences will destroy us. Much as we like the stimulus of the multicultural, we have to know human beings like to live among large numbers of people who believe in the same things. And you can't ghetto beliefs. Beliefs want to move beyond ghettos. They want to be contagious. That's part of the fun of having beliefs. It's the requirement of belief. And when you fence beliefs in, you have riots, bombings, and mental unhealth. What we need is communality, even more than we need community. We need communality, a collective set of beliefs, or we will disintegrate into unique solitudes. Without commonalities, we risk not trusting each other in civic life. And trust is everything in the creative city. Creativity will not emerge without a climate of inter-civic trust. How do you generate a climate of trust? Well, first you put some faith in the universals and take a break from negotiating cultures. Pay attention to the alphabet of empathy and basic feelings beyond the words of policy and cultural mappings. And look for words that honor the complexity of the human heart by respecting its simplicity. You might even use words like Innoversity, words that express a deepened interrelationship, a deeper insight into each other. We might replace words like interaction with involvement. Semantics is not trivial. The civic heart is inspired by the words that give it incarnation. For the eros of care depends on the words that move the heart beyond negotiations. Abstractions are the brandings of governance. People are not social capital. They are people. Inclusivity means need me as I need you. Equity means I won't hurt you because I wouldn't want to be hurt myself. Too unsophisticated? We have to get back to the plain language, the primal requests that provoke our ideas. The creative city must name itself by the terms in which it can fall in love with itself. And we are the authors of that language. Trust is also established by embracing the unexpected, dangerous as it seems. And the global enterprise contradicts the element of risk altogether. We talk of risk. The fact is the world is getting a bunker mentality. It prefers to be safe rather than to encounter. It doesn't engage in the random, the unexpected. Engaging the random means sacrificing the known to the unknown, basic to creativity, basic to meeting other people. That's the great risk. When two people meet, when they take that risk together, they recognize that it's a great risk, and they respect it. And they even feel gratitude towards each other. And that becomes the spine of civic grace. And there is no creativity without civic grace. The media. What is the role of the media? Let me suggest to you that there are no longer any mainstream cultures. Media is the mainstream culture. The media does not mediate. It manufactures the world that we know, which might be different from the world we experience. The mission of media might be that of reintroducing us to the experience of the world. Shall we make a claim for a critical approach to the media? There's too much of it, not enough hours of the day to filter. The only critical approach is to retain and practice a sense of what is authentic. And what is authentic is our compassion, our zest for creativity, our experience of delight, our empathy, our sensitivity to a style of individuality in ourselves and in the next person. And that style is always a style of loving, spelled out in sacrifice, celebration, and the expression of delight. The job of media is to dignify and stimulate basic human experience. Media can be an art form or exploitative. It can reduce our language to the scripted, or it can give us new metaphors. Telecommunications can make the world less lonely or horribly lonely for those who spend more time with the virtual than with people. Media can thread diversity or aggravate it. Media can restore deep culture or paralyze it. It can restore us to the human or turn us into facsimiles of ourselves. It can inspire citizens to the romance of ideals and bring cities to higher versions of themselves. Let's be clear. The global citizen seeks nothing less than a romance with life, empowered by the witness of beauty. And media can be that witness. Beauty takes place every day in the corridors of the city. Media can spotlight it or fuzz it. It can glamorize a city or dispirit it. It can mirror the soul of the city as it tries to emerge, or it can discourage it with the self-consciousness of its own limitations. Media can formalize ideals and create a mythology, or can give us a catalog, an ugly narrative of ourselves. The future of the global city depends on the benevolence and the intelligence of of those in communications. The job of the creative city belongs to the city proper itself. Creativity ventures into hospitality, not into places of anxiety and protocol. Risk will not happen in a city where the citizens are more concerned with security than adventure. Heaven knows that we need to feel safe, but safety is the opposite of risk-taking. And the industries that maintain anxiety levels do nothing for the soul of a city. They just worry the city. A city can make an industry of anxiety with the trumpeting of dangers, alarms, and the need for further boundary laws and regulations. But if it doesn't foster spontaneity, the creative will not happen. Spontaneity is the freedom to play, the freedom to experiment, the freedom of shared delight, of shared marvels, with the reflexive generosities that people are capable of. Policing, regulation, and bylaw consciousness will not set the stage for spontaneity. Regulation is good until it becomes a mechanism that replaces the nature of life. Life is spontaneous and creative. It won't be fenced in. It requires allowance and receptivity, and an appetite, not a menu. A city that is stiff, a city that is big on protocol will not have creative citizens, diverse or otherwise. This is a global problem, not just a Toronto problem. There are global strategies that see policing and regulation as the answer to the urban. More community, guards, cameras, monitoring, surveillance. This is the corporate answer to diversity. The corporate is about how to avoid friction, not about what holds us together. What the city can do is to ensure that the ethic of governance encourages a code of common humanity. It designs streets and buildings that inspire encounter. It lets go of unreasonable circumspections in its services and enforcements. It introduces a literacy of grace among its citizens by replacing an ethic of boundary and protocol with an ethic of welcome and response. The style of municipal action itself must imitate the dynamic of creativity, benevolent intelligence with a regard for the unique. If we want a city to be creative, we must inspire citizens to relax into each other. And in that trust, we can be creative. To relax into our creative skills. For people are already creative. The trick is to have them recognize it. Let me conclude by saying the project of creativity depends on the commonality that citizens feel, not their differences. Diversity is never a strength until we feel bonded by what is credibly beautiful. We respond to the beautiful in each other, not ideas, not interesting customs, not the exotica of cuisines, not the fascination of languages. The foreign just remains foreign until what is universally beautiful cuts in. And what is universally beautiful is the sheer code of common humanity that transcends cultures and lifestyles. Who will contest the password of a simple smile or a laugh or the form of play shared by children of varying origins in a schoolyard? Are these alphabets of civility too rustic or banal for us? the beleaguered adults of disenfranchised nations, wounded cults with emotional deficits that need empowerment. We need to restore a literacy of grace, the code, a simple code of empathy and impulsive joy. And we won't negotiate ourselves into that. Each culture, each ideology, each lifestyle has the capacity to resort to the code of simply looking at another citizen and not looking away. It is the code of the lingering glance, of the ability to offer response instead of censure. The act of civic faith that summons a smile and even sacrifice. For until each citizen feels that another citizen is a resource of sacrifice, a city will not pledge itself to creativity. God bless you.
Thank you so much for that. I have to say, it was 25 years ago at that high school library I saw you speak. And to sit here, I thought of two things. One is that I could have really used you during the 25 years in arguments that I got to in newsrooms. I couldn't quite put it that way. And the other is the importance of mentoring, which you were good enough to do for my class that day. And I think which is what Innoversity is all about.
Hear, hear.
Regardless of who you are, up-and-coming cultural entrepreneur, media executive, HR professional, policymaker, or regulator, Innoversity offers 2 days of unparalleled access to ideas, to opportunities, to lessons learned, to people who make things happen. Let me just say that you are going to sessions. We're running a little bit late, but the schedule for those have been pushed forward, so not to worry. Innoversity continues its strong focus on careers, getting them off the ground, moving up to the next level, tapping unexplored possibilities, swinging those doors open to wider horizons and greater success. Network. Don't forget that there are more than 20 senior media professionals who've made themselves available for mentoring over these 2 days. That's in addition to FaceTime and the ongoing Media Career Fair, sponsored by Global Television and featuring major players in film, print, radio, and television in Canada. To find an Innoversity mentor, visit the mentoring room, room 224, for more information. It's upstairs, 1 floor up from this ballroom. Now, you've got 2 options for lunch. You can be back here in the King Ballroom for lunch with Toronto lawyer Khalid Baksh of Baksh Cuddy. He'll be speaking right after lunch, or you can use the time to work on your plan. Also, I'd like to tell you that this year Innoversity has attendance available for persons with disabilities who need assistance. And that's courtesy of the Canadian Paraplegic Association of Ontario. So, will today's attendants please raise their hands and identify themselves in the room? If you need attendant care, please visit the registration area and make your individual arrangements. We've got 2 great days ahead of us. Make the most of them. Go open some doors, connect, and unlock your future. See you in the Innoverse. Thank you very much.
Come in and experience the Innoversity Creative Summit 2005. Here's Ben.
I'm just going to take a very few moments to share with you how that commitment, and really it's a commitment to catch up with the spirit of this room and the reality of the country itself, how that's translating itself into the everyday workings of the CBC in the last year or so. And I'd sum it up this way: changing consciousness and evolving the CBC culture is happening both slowly and methodically, and at the same time at lightning speed. And here's why that's not such a contradiction. We have a major diversity initiative underway at CBC, and through it, we've made some major changes that have sweeping implications. Here's just one example. Each and every senior manager in radio and television, human resources, throughout the entire organization, have to have, as part of their yearly objectives, identifiable plans regarding their commitment to diversity, both on the air and behind the scenes, and they have to account for them on a regular basis. In another major initiative, CBC Radio led us on a project to take detailed demographic snapshots of cities and towns right across the country so we would understand them better. But you know, as important as these institutional changes are, and they are essential because they create systemic change, some of the most inspiring moments for me in the past years have been when ideas bubble from the ground up, because that's when you know that someone else out there has got it. And they've looked around their part of the CBC and they've said, all right, how can I make a change? How can I make a difference? And just a few of those examples to let you know what I mean. There was a movement on the prairies to create an Aboriginal content unit that is now up and running and having an impact on CBC News right across the country. There was an executive producer and his team in Calgary who began an online Rolodex that has now become a national database of experts for our journalists. Now, these are Canadians who our journalists can access, who come from a wide diversity of backgrounds, and they bring their expertise on a broad range of subjects to our CBC airwaves. And when we checked the figures, that Rolodex was being accessed more than 20 times a day by our journalists. And finally, a young producer in Toronto decided to create an internal database for languages so that we can use all the languages currently spoken within the CBC more extensively in the work we do. Once she got it up and rolling, within days, more than 100 employees had signed up, and today we're helping each other to translate more than 70 different languages. There's no doubt that a key part of any diversity strategy has to be the people who are hired or brought into the organization in some manner, which brings us back to all of you. Whether your goal today is to get a foot in the door or to take the next step towards exercising and developing your talents. Some of the feedback we hear through the industry is that internships need to be longer. And so I'm pleased to announce that we're going to try to do our part today with announcing 3 new internships, each of them 6 months in length. In CBC News, CBC Arts and Entertainment, and CBC Sports, and these are in addition to the university internships already in place. All of you registered as part of Innoversity will be contacted with more information shortly, and we hope you'll consider applying. Many years ago, I came to the CBC on a 3-month internship, and the only reason that you need to know that is that as part of my audition, I unexpectedly ended up telling the story about a pal of mine, a 7-foot-tall basketball player from Yonkers, New York, who gave me words of advice that I've used repeatedly throughout my life and career. And it occurred to me as I was thinking about what I would say to all of you today that these remarks apply to all of us here, and that's whether we're working to make the broadcast industry more diverse or we're thinking of going after a really important opportunity. So I will say to you, as Norman used to say to me, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Good luck and best wishes to all of you, and continued success to Innoversity.
I'm here because the CBC graciously offered me a scholarship, and I'm here primarily to make contacts to build my career as a filmmaker, to make dramatic films and documentaries as well. And the films I make deal with the Asian Canadian film community. Now, I want to tell stories from my community and cast Asian actors.
So, how do you see this university? Is it good?
Well, it just started, so I haven't had a chance to really absorb everything. I was here for the first year, about some years ago, and like I said, I'm really here to network, check out some of the workshops, learn some things, and just renew some existing relationships.
This event talks about diversity. As an Asian myself, do you see there's enough diversity in media?
No, not at all. If you look at the movie industry, which is my primary focus, no, I mean, there are just not nearly enough diversity on screen, on the big screen. You know, once in a while you find a film made by a black filmmaker or an Asian filmmaker or South Asian, but that's once in a while. And TV is just as bad. I just don't see. I look at Canadian society on the street, then I look at what I see on Canadian TV and in Canadian movie theaters is totally different. It's like there's a good lag of 20 or even 30 years. There's not enough diversity at all.
Anything we can do to change this environment?
For audience, the audience should just watch films and TV shows made by diverse filmmakers. You know, go watch a movie or a TV show made by an Asian Canadian, or if you're South Asian, go watch South Asian, or maybe it doesn't matter. If you're black, go watch an Asian film. If you're Asian, go watch a black film. You know, the people who run the industry, they'll only react, you know, if they see that there's an audience for these things. You know, it's still a business at the end of the day. So watch diverse films, watch diverse TV shows. That's my, you know, advice to you.
So what's your future vision for yourself?
I want to tell stories from my community, period. Because I don't think enough people are telling them, certainly not the media establishment. So it's up to filmmakers like myself, filmmakers of color, to represent our people. And too often I see, for lack of a better word, white people telling our stories without even asking us for our input. And that is happening now. I can cite you a few examples, but maybe that's for another discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.